Alex Murphy stood on the observation deck of the research vessel Horizon, gazing at the massive derelict ships floating silently in the void. The ancient fleet had remained hidden for thousands of years in this unexplored sector, preserved in the vacuum of space. His reflection showed a man with tired eyes but renewed purpose. "Commander, you need to see this." Kate Wilson's voice crackled through his communicator. The ship's archaeologist had been examining the exterior markings of what appeared to be the fleet's flagship. Alex made his way through the narrow corridors of the Horizon, nodding to crew members as he passed. The discovery had everyone on edge with excitement. This was the kind of find that defined careers and changed history. Kate waited for him in the research lab, her blonde hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, eyes bright with discovery. Holographic projections of the derelict ships rotated slowly above the central table. "I've been analyzing the markings on the hull," she said without preamble. "Commander, they're in human language, a derivative of ancient Earth languages." Alex frowned. "That's impossible. Humans have only been traveling in space for 3 centuries. These ships are at least 5,000 years old according to initial scans." "I know." Kate projected a series of symbols. "But look at this. It's unmistakable. A form of Proto-English mixed with elements of other Earth languages. No alien civilization would have developed identical linguistic patterns." Chief Engineer Ben Porter joined them, carrying a tablet with sensor readings. "The technology is incredible. These ships have propulsion systems we can't even understand. The metal alloys aren't in our database. The galactic community is already dismissing our findings," Alex said, scrolling through incoming transmissions. "The Voraxian ambassador called it human delusion of grandeur to suggest we built these." "Let them laugh," Kate said firmly. "The evidence is right here." The first exploration team returned from their excursion to the flagship later that day. They gathered in the briefing room, faces displaying a mixture of awe and confusion. Lieutenant Ryan Clark removed his helmet, running a hand through his sweat-dampened hair. "Commander, the interior of the ship is intact. Life support systems activated when we entered, as if it was waiting for us." Science Officer Olivia Gonzalez added, "The ship recognized our presence somehow. Lights activated along our path. But the strangest thing was this." She placed a small metallic cube on the table. "We found it in what appears to be the bridge." Kate carefully picked up the cube. As her fingers touched its surface, it hummed to life, projecting a holographic message in the same strange language she'd been deciphering. "It says, 'When darkness returns, awaken the Guardians,'" she translated slowly. Alex ordered a full exploration team to board the flagship the next morning. He led the mission himself, feeling a strange connection to the ancient vessel as they made their way through its corridors. The ship was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the largest modern human battleship. "The engineering principles are familiar but executed at a level we haven't achieved yet," Ben commented as they examined the engine room. "It's like someone took human intuition and design philosophy, but had much better technology to work with." The team eventually discovered a sealed command center. Despite their advanced tools, they couldn't open it until Kate noticed a small panel with a hand-shaped depression. "It wants a handprint," she said. Alex placed his palm against the panel. Nothing happened. One by one, the team members tried, until Kate pressed her hand to the surface. The door slid open silently. Inside, they found a fully preserved bridge with control stations that lit up as they entered. In the center stood a raised platform with another hand scanner. "Should I?" Kate asked, looking to Alex. He nodded. "We've come this far." When Kate placed her hand on the scanner, the entire room illuminated. A booming voice echoed through the chamber, speaking in the ancient language before switching to modern English. "Human presence detected. Guardian protocols initializing. Stand by for activation sequence." The fleet of dead ships began to wake up. The discovery of the ancient fleet shook the scientific community to its core. Kate spent days in the command center, poring over logs and records stored in the ship's database. The holographic interface responded to her touch as if designed specifically for human interaction. These logs go back over 6,000 years, Kate told Alex as he brought her a cup of coffee. Dark circles beneath her eyes revealed her lack of sleep. According to this data, humans reached the stars long before our recorded history suggests. Alex leaned against the console, scanning the translated text. How is that possible? There's no evidence of advanced technology in Earth's archaeological record. Because they left, Kate explained, pulling up star charts. These logs indicate a massive exodus from Earth after a catastrophic war. They took their technology with them. Dr. Frank Harris joined them, carrying his own findings. The xenobiologist had been examining preserved biological samples from the ship's medical bay. The DNA samples I found are definitely human, but with subtle differences. Adaptations for long-term space travel, Frank explained. These ancient humans modified themselves to survive the journey between stars. Kate activated a holographic recording that filled the chamber. It showed humans in unfamiliar uniforms battling against an enemy unlike anything they had ever seen. A darkness that seemed to consume light itself, taking various shapes as it attacked human settlements. They called it the Void, Kate said quietly. Some kind of entity had consumed entire civilizations. These ships were built to fight it. Alex frowned at the disturbing images. We need to keep this quiet until we understand more. The other species already distrust humans. Imagine how they'll react if they learn about this. His communicator beeped with an urgent message. Lieutenant Paul Martinez's voice came through clearly. Commander, I've discovered something in the navigation systems. These charts predict the return of something called the Void. According to the timeline, it's coming back in 3 months. The news spread despite their attempts at secrecy. The Galactic Council demanded immediate access to the fleet, citing concerns about weapons of mass destruction in human hands. Ambassador Greg Wilson, representing Earth on the Council, faced hostile questioning from the 12 alien representatives. The human claim to this technology is absurd, declared the Voraxian ambassador. Your species was still using combustion engines when my people had already settled 50 star systems. The evidence suggests otherwise, Greg replied calmly. The ships respond only to human neural patterns and DNA. A convenient security system you could have installed after discovery, hissed the Meridian representative. We demand independent verification. Back on the ancient flagship, now nicknamed Legacy by the crew, Alex received the Council's demands with frustration. They're sending a team to seize control of the fleet, he told Kate and the others. They don't believe humans could have built this. Kate looked up from the console where she'd been studying weapons schematics. Well, they're in for a surprise. I've learned why these ships only respond to us. The genetic lock is coded to human DNA markers. No other species can operate them. Ben Porter whistled as he examined the propulsion systems. These engines could revolutionize space travel. The power output is off the charts. And look at these weapon systems, added Ryan, pointing to diagrams on his screen. They were designed specifically to combat this void entity. That night, as most of the crew slept, the ship's AI activated fully, sensing the imminent threat from its ancient programming. Lights throughout the fleet began glowing, systems initializing one by one. Kate, working late, watched in amazement as a holographic figure materialized on the bridge. A woman in an ancient uniform, her expression severe. I am Guardian, the figure announced. Human DNA detected. Threat assessment protocol activated. The void approaches. We must prepare. Alex, summoned from sleep, stared at the apparition. Who built you? Who were these ancient humans? Guardian's expression softened slightly. Your ancestors, the builders of the greatest civilization this galaxy has ever known. And soon, you will need to take up their mantle. Kate stood before the main control panel of the flagship, her fingers hovering above intricate symbols that glowed with soft blue light. Guardian's holographic form watched her carefully. The sequence must be precise. Guardian instructed. Place your hands on the marked positions and focus your thoughts on activation. Kate took a deep breath and pressed her palms against the console. A surge of energy flowed through her body, making her gasp. The ship rumbled beneath their feet as ancient systems roared to life. Primary systems online, Guardian announced. Fleet awakening protocols initiated. Through the observation windows, Alex and the others watched in awe as lights flickered across the massive fleet. One by one, the derelict vessels illuminated like stars being born, their engines glowing with blue-white energy. "My God," whispered Ben. "It's actually working." Guardian's hologram expanded, filling the bridge with a three-dimensional star map. "I was created to assist the human fleet in combating the void. My last active memory was 5,247 years ago, when we entered dormancy after driving back the darkness." "What exactly is the void?" Alex asked, studying the map as it highlighted a region of space at the galaxy's edge. "An entity that consumes all life and energy it encounters. It emerges from the space between galaxies approximately every 5 millennia. Guardian's expression turned grim. "According to my calculations, it will begin its incursion within 63 days. News of the fleet's activation spread quickly through the galactic community. Representatives from a dozen species arrived on observation vessels, their disbelief evident in their communications. Humans claimed to be descendants of an advanced civilization. The Varaxian ambassador sneered during an emergency council meeting. Preposterous. They barely managed faster-than-light travel without our assistance. The Meridian delegation was equally dismissive. These primitive beings couldn't possibly understand technology of this sophistication. The ships must have been built by the ancients, the race we all acknowledge preceded us in the galaxy." On the council station, Greg faced their ridicule with growing frustration. "I understand your skepticism, but the evidence is clear. The ships respond only to human neural patterns and DNA. "A coincidence, or perhaps a trick," replied the Trillian representative. "We demand the fleet be surrendered to neutral parties for study." Back aboard the Legacy, Guardian began transferring knowledge to the human team through neural interfaces, specialized helmets that allowed direct communication with the ship's systems. Ryan removed his interface helmet, blinking in amazement. "I just learned more about quantum physics in 20 minutes than in 4 years at the Academy." Olivia nodded, her own helmet still glowing as data streamed into her mind. "It's like having thousands of years of knowledge downloaded directly to your brain." Kate emerged from her quarters after a 6-hour interface session, her steps unsteady, but her eyes bright with understanding. "I know how to pilot the fleet now," she announced. "All of it." Alex raised an eyebrow. "The entire fleet? There must be at least 50 capital ships." 73, Kate corrected. "And yes, the command systems are designed to allow a small human crew to control multiple vessels simultaneously." A transmission interrupted their conversation, an urgent message from the outer colony of New Horizon. The screen showed chaos, buildings crumbling as darkness spread across the landscape. "Something's attacking us," cried the colony governor. "It's like living darkness, consuming everything it." The transmission cut off abruptly. Guardian's hologram appeared, expression grave. "The void has arrived ahead of schedule. Its hunger has grown stronger during dormancy." A fleet of 7 alien warships appeared at the edge of the system, weapons charged. "By order of the Galactic Council, the human presence is to be removed from the ancient fleet immediately," came the transmission. "Surrender now or face consequences." Alex looked at Kate, then at Guardian. "Show them who built these ships," he said quietly. Guardian nodded, her holographic form growing brighter. Defensive systems online. Activating Guardian Protocol Alpha. All ships prepare for combat demonstration. The ancient fleet began to move in perfect formation, their massive forms graceful despite their size. The alien warships suddenly seemed very small in comparison. The 7 alien warships held position at the edge of the system, weapons trained on the ancient fleet. Commander Zorik of the Varaxian flagship transmitted his final warning. This is your last chance, humans. Surrender the fleet and withdraw. Alex stood firmly on the bridge of the Legacy, the crew at their stations around him. The fleet stays under human control. We suggest you withdraw before making a grave mistake. Zorik laughed, the sound harsh through the communication system. Your species' arrogance knows no bounds. You will learn your place. The lead alien vessel fired a warning shot that flashed past the Legacy's bow. In response, Guardian activated the fleet's defensive shield, not around individual ships but encompassing the entire formation in a shimmering blue barrier. Defense field at 15% capacity, Guardian announced calmly. Sufficient for current threat level. When the alien ships unleashed their full barrage, the energy weapons simply dissipated against the shield. Blue ripples spread like water droplets on a pond surface, but nothing penetrated. Kate worked the tactical station, her movements confident after her neural interface training. Should we return fire? Alex shook his head. Defensive demonstration only. We need allies, not more enemies. Ben monitored the fleet's power systems, his expression awed. We're barely drawing any energy. These ships could probably sustain this shield for years. The standoff ended when a massive shadow eclipsed the nearby colony world. The void had spread across half the planet, lights blinking out as it consumed energy and matter alike. Commander Zorik's transmission returned, his tone dramatically changed. What is that thing? The very enemy these ships were built to fight. Alex replied. The threat we've been trying to warn you about. The Galactic Council established emergency communication. Representatives watched in horror as the void consumed the colony world, their skepticism evaporating with each passing moment. How do we stop it? Asked the Meridian representative, previous arrogance gone. Dr. Lisa Bennett had been studying the ancient weapons systems for days. The quantum physicist looked up from her station, pushing red hair from her eyes. The fleet's main cannons might be effective, but we need time to power them up. The Council grants temporary human control of the fleet, announced the Trillian representative reluctantly. But we will observe all actions. Guardian's holographic form expanded to display tactical options. The void must be contained before it reaches populated systems. I suggest deployment in the following formation. As the alien ships retreated to a safe distance, the ancient fleet arranged itself according to Guardian's instructions. The Legacy took position at the center, with other vessels forming concentric rings around it. Primary weapon requires 18 minutes to reach full charge, Lisa reported. We've never channeled this much energy before. The void, sensing the threat, abandoned the remnants of the colony world and moved toward the fleet, its darkness spreading like ink through water. It's intelligent, Kate observed. It recognizes these ships. Ryan monitored the enemy's approach. At current speed, it will reach us before the weapons are fully charged. Alex made a quick decision. Activate the secondary defense grid. We need to buy time. Smaller vessels moved forward, generating a barrier of golden energy that temporarily slowed the void's advance. Dark tendrils probed the barrier, testing for weaknesses. 15% charge, Lisa announced, sweat beading on her forehead as she worked to understand the complex weapons system. The alien observers watched in stunned silence as the ancient fleet operated with impossible coordination. Each ship moved in perfect harmony with the others, adjusting position by millimeters to optimize their defensive formation. Impossible, whispered Commander Zorik, watching from his vessel. No fleet can maneuver with such precision. Human neural networks are integrated with the ship's systems, Guardian explained over the open channel. This is why only humans can operate the fleet effectively. The void found a weakness in the golden barrier and pushed through, darkness spreading toward the Legacy. Tendrils of shadow reached for the flagship like hungry fingers. 50% charge, Lisa called out. We need more time. Alex looked at Kate. Activate the pulse shields. All ships. Throughout the fleet, rings of blue-white energy began pulsing outward, pushing back the darkness temporarily. The bridge crew worked frantically, their neural interfaces glowing as they communicated with their ships at the speed of thought. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the holographic display showed the void retreating from the ancient fleet's formidable weapons. Council members who had mocked humans days earlier now looked at the human delegation with newfound respect. "We propose an immediate alliance," announced the Trillion representative, rising from her seat. "Our combined forces stand a better chance against this threat." The Voraxian ambassador nodded in agreement. The human fleet has proven effective against the void. Logic dictates cooperation. Greg stood before the council, shoulders straight. "Earth accepts your proposal, but we have conditions. The ancient fleet remains under human command." After brief deliberation, the council agreed. Alex received his promotion via subspace communication while standing on the Legacy's bridge. "Congratulations, Admiral Murphy," Greg's message concluded. "The combined fleet is yours to command. Don't let us down." Kate smiled at Alex. "Admiral Murphy, it suits you." Alex straightened his uniform, still processing the responsibility now resting on his shoulders. "Gather the crew. We have work to do." The next day, representatives from 12 species arrived to integrate their technologies with the ancient fleet. The Legacy's hangar bay became a hub of interspecies cooperation as engineers shared knowledge and resources. Ben worked alongside a Meridian tech specialist, combining their shield systems with the Legacy's defenses. "If we calibrate at this frequency, we can increase shield strength by 23%. The Meridian nodded, their 4 eyes blinking in sequence. "Your ancient ships use principles we abandoned centuries ago. Perhaps that was a mistake." Through neural interfaces, Guardian continued training the human crew. The process accelerated as they grew more accustomed to the direct knowledge transfer. "Neural pathways adapting at optimal rates," Guardian reported. "Your learning capacity exceeds projections." Kate emerged from a 6-hour training session, removing her interface helmet with shaking hands. Her eyes were wide with revelation. "The ships can create stable wormholes." Alex looked up from tactical planning. "Wormholes? For transportation?" "Yes, but more than that." Kate pulled up navigation charts. According to these records, the ancient humans didn't just flee to nearby stars. They spread throughout multiple galaxies, establishing outposts beyond the void's reach. Lisa joined them, excitement clear in her voice. "If we can reactivate these wormhole generators, we could evacuate threatened systems or bring in reinforcements from distant sectors." Dr. Jack Peterson, who specialized in weapons technology, had been unusually quiet since joining the Legacy's crew. Today, he approached Alex with determination in his eyes. "Admiral, I've identified the flagship's main offensive system. It's unlike anything I've ever seen." Jack led Alex and Kate to a sealed chamber deep within the Legacy. The room contained a single control console surrounded by massive energy conduits. "The ancient logs call it the Lightbringer," Jack explained. "It doesn't destroy matter. It converts darkness back into energy." Guardian appeared beside them. "The Lightbringer was our most powerful weapon against the void. It reverses entropy within the target area." "Can we test it?" Alex asked. "A controlled demonstration would be possible," Guardian replied. "But power requirements are substantial." Word of the weapon spread quickly through the Allied fleet. When a small contingent of the void appeared in a nearby uninhabited system, the Council requested a demonstration. The Legacy moved into position, Allied ships maintaining safe distance. Jack stood at the weapon control, neural interface connecting him directly to the system. "Lightbringer at 60% capacity," he announced. "Target locked." "Fire when ready," Alex ordered. Jack activated the weapon. A beam of pure white light erupted from the Legacy, striking the darkness. Where it touched, the void seemed to unravel, darkness converting to brilliant energy that expanded outward in a controlled cascade. In the Council observation ship, alien representatives watched in stunned silence as the weapon eliminated all traces of the void from the system. Now they understand why the ancient humans were both feared and respected, Guardian said quietly. The Lightbringer was just one of many innovations they created. The Voraxian commander approached Alex after the demonstration, his previous arrogance replaced with solemn respect. My people have records of ancient battles against an unstoppable darkness. We thought they were myths. Now I understand those stories were about your ancestors. Alex nodded. And now we all need to prepare for the real battle. That was just a fragment of the void. The main entity is still coming. The combined fleet waited at the edge of inhabited space, a barrier of ships and technology standing between civilization and the approaching darkness. Alex stood on the Legacy's bridge, studying tactical displays. Over 300 vessels from various species had joined the ancient fleet. The void will be here in 20 minutes, Kate announced, monitoring long-range sensors. It's moving faster than predicted. Guardian's hologram appeared, expression grave. This manifestation is stronger than any I have encountered. It has grown during dormancy. The atmosphere on the bridge was tense but focused. Each crew member had trained extensively through neural interfaces, their minds now working in harmony with the ancient systems. All ships report ready, Admiral, Ryan said from the communication station. Alex nodded. Maintain formation. Remember your training. We've prepared for this. The first tendrils of darkness appeared at the edge of the system, spreading like ink through water. Stars winked out as the void consumed their light. Primary weapons charge, Jack reported. Lightbringer at 90%. All ships, activate defensive shields, Alex ordered. Throughout the fleet, energy barriers sprang to life, creating layers of protection. The smaller, faster ships took forward positions, ready to harry the edges of the void. The battle began suddenly, with darkness rushing toward them, faster than expected. Allied vessels fired their weapons, creating brief flares of light in the expanding blackness. The Legacy will target the central mass, Alex commanded. Allied cruisers, maintain perimeter control. Jack activated the Lightbringer, sending the powerful beam into the heart of the void. The darkness recoiled, parts of it transforming back into energy. But the effect was temporary. The void seemed to learn, adapting to the weapon's frequency. It's changing its composition, Lisa reported, eyes fixed on her readings. The Lightbringer is becoming less effective with each firing. Guardian appeared beside Alex. This occurred in previous encounters. The final protocol was enacted when all else failed, a suicide mission into the heart of the void with the flagship. Alex shook his head firmly. Not an option. There must be another way. Kate looked up from her station. The wormhole generators. What if we use them against the void instead of for transportation? Explain, Alex said, as the ship shuddered under attack. The void feeds on energy and matter. What if we create a wormhole to nowhere, a pocket dimension with nothing to consume? Kate's eyes brightened with the idea. We could trap it. Ben joined the conversation. We'd need to generate a massive containment field first, then create the wormhole inside it. Can we do that? Alex asked Guardian. The hologram paused, calculating. Theoretically, yes, but it would require the combined power of the entire fleet. The risk is substantial. Send the plan to all ships, Alex decided. Begin preparations. The fleet reorganized into a spherical formation, with the void partially surrounded. Ships took heavy damage as they maneuvered into position, darkness consuming some vessels completely. Containment field generators online, Ben reported. All Allied ships are synchronized. Kate worked frantically at the navigation console. Wormhole calculations complete. We'll only get one chance at this. The void sensed the trap, darkness surging toward gaps in the formation. 3 Voraxian cruisers moved to block its path, sacrificing themselves to maintain the sphere. Field strength at maximum, Ben called out. Ready on your mark. All ships, channel power to the Legacy, Alex ordered. Energy flowed from hundreds of vessels, feeding into the ancient flagship systems. Kate's hands flew across her console. Wormhole generating now. At the center of the containment field, space itself began to tear open. Unlike normal wormholes, this portal led to an empty pocket dimension, a created void. The void is resisting. Lisa shouted over the rumble of straining engines. Guardian's voice was calm. It senses the trap. Increase power to the containment field. The bridge lights dimmed as the Legacy diverted all available energy. Alex gripped his chair as the ship trembled. "We need more power," Kate yelled. Jack looked up from his station. "The Lightbringer. If we reverse its polarity, we could push the void toward the wormhole instead of trying to convert it." "Do it," Alex commanded. The mighty weapon fired again, but this time as a repulsive force, shoving the darkness toward the waiting portal. The void writhed and fought, darkness lashing out at the fleet. "The containment field is failing," Ben warned, his console sparking. 10 more seconds, Kate urged. "Just hold it together." The Great Hall of the Galactic Council had never been so crowded. Representatives from every spacefaring species gathered to witness the historic ceremony. At the center stood Alex, Kate, and the crew of the Legacy, their uniforms adorned with new insignia marking their service against the void. "We honor the human crew who led the ancient fleet to victory," announced the council leader, her voice echoing through the chamber. "Their actions have saved countless lives across our galaxy." The Voraxian ambassador stepped forward, his previous skepticism replaced with genuine respect. "On behalf of all council members, I formally acknowledge humanity's ancient heritage and technological achievements. We were wrong to doubt you." Alex accepted the ceremonial staff of Alliance with a humble nod. "We didn't win this battle alone. Every species contributed to our victory." After the ceremony, the Legacy's crew returned to their flagship. Guardian waited for them on the bridge, her holographic form somehow seeming more vibrant. "With the void contained, it is time to reveal the full legacy of your ancestors," she said. Guardian activated the main view screen, displaying a complex map of multiple galaxies. Points of light pulsed across the vast distances. "These are ancient human outposts, established before my creation. Many may still exist." "You're saying humans spread beyond our galaxy?" Lisa asked, eyes wide with wonder. "Yes. Your ancestors built an empire spanning 23 galaxies at its height," Guardian replied. "The fleet has begun broadcasting activation signals. Already, we're receiving responses." Kate monitored the incoming data. 3 outposts have acknowledged our signal. One is only 60 light-years from Earth. What will we find there? Ryan wondered aloud. Knowledge. Technology. Perhaps even descendants of the original colonists. Guardian answered. Your ancestors prepared for the possibility that Earth-bound humans might someday rejoin them among the stars. In the following weeks, exploration teams discovered hidden colonies and technology caches throughout nearby systems. Some contained advanced medical technologies that could extend human lifespans threefold. Others held cultural records spanning thousands of years. On Earth, crowds gathered to watch as the first artifacts were returned home. Museums couldn't handle the influx of ancient human treasures, and new facilities were built specifically to house them. Alex stood beside Kate on a hill overlooking the newly constructed memorial to the ancient ones in what had once been called Denver. The massive stone and metal structure depicted humans reaching toward the stars, with inscriptions detailing the rediscovered history. It's still hard to believe, Kate said softly. Our ancestors achieved so much, then were forgotten by their own descendants. Not forgotten anymore, Alex replied. Guardian says there are records suggesting they always planned to return, but the void interrupted their timeline. The Galactic Council's unanimous vote arrived that morning. Humans would lead a new defensive alliance built around the ancient fleet. Species that had once looked down on humanity now sought to learn from them. Then approached them, carrying plans for the training academy that would prepare new crews. The first class starts next month. We've got applicants from 17 species wanting to learn about the ancient technologies. Jack joined them, his usual serious expression softened by excitement. I've been working with Guardian to understand the quantum principles behind the Lightbringer. We might be able to improve it. As sunset painted the memorial in golden light, Guardian's hologram appeared beside them. "There is something I haven't shared until now," she said quietly. "The pocket dimension holding the void is not permanent. According to my calculations, it will begin to weaken in approximately 500 years. So this isn't over," Alex said, his voice steady despite the news. "No," Guardian agreed. "But unlike before, humanity won't face the void unprepared. Your people now have centuries to study, improve, and build upon the ancient technologies." Kate looked up at the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. "And this time, we won't be alone. We'll face it together with the other species." Guardian nodded, her expression hopeful. The ancient humans would be proud to see their descendants forge such alliances. They believed cooperation was the key to long-term survival. As night fell completely, the memorial illuminated from within, a beacon visible for miles around. Similar monuments were being built on thousands of worlds across the galaxy, connecting modern civilization to humanity's forgotten legacy among the stars.